Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and thank you for tuning into my video. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jamelia and I'm currently a student registered nurse anesthetist in the VCU Doctorate of Nurse Anesthesia program. I am in my junior year, so I'm in the second year of the 3-year program, and I'm currently in my second clinical rotation at the VCU hospital. So I decided to make this video because I still get a lot of questions about what I specifically did to get accepted into a program, and what tips I can give on applying to different programs. And here I am making this video for you guys. So I'm sure we all know, if you are on this video, I'm sure you've done other research on what it takes to become a CRNA. So as we all know, getting into one of these programs is usually very competitive. I don't know how many programs there are in the United States, but I know that the average amount of spots available each year in each of these programs is usually 10 to 100 spots, and it's usually hundreds of people applying to these spots. So you got to be really competitive when you got to make yourself really appealing to the admissions committee when you are applying to these programs. So when I applied to nurse anesthesia school, I made sure I applied to different programs and made sure I didn't limit myself. Although I did want to definitely go to VCU, I made sure I applied to 3 different programs so I could have a better shot. And when I applied, I got I got invited for an interview to 2 of those places, one of them being VCU. So when I got my invite to VCU, I just went ahead and respectfully declined the other invitation for an interview. And here I am. So I'm just gonna tell you guys about a few of the things. It's not everything that I did, but a few of the things that I did to make myself appear more appealing to the admissions committee, so I could hopefully get chosen for a spot. The first thing that I did was when I first graduated with my initial RN degree. I was a CNA at a nursing home prior to becoming an RN, and once I got my RN license, I ended up taking a supervisor position so that I could show that I had good leadership skills and all that good stuff. And pretty much since I've been an RN, I've been in leadership positions. Not in my last position was just a clinical floor nurse, but through a majority of my career, I've been in leadership positions. And I did this because when I was doing my research, I found that these places really like to see that you do well with leadership and that you have some leadership experience. Because when you graduate from this doctorate program, you're going to be an advanced practicing nurse. So you're going to have to be familiar with leadership. You're going to be a leader in your field. So that's one thing that I did there. And another thing that I also did was I made sure that I got some experience as a level 1, as a nurse in a level 1 trauma facility, which happened to be VCU Medical Center. I started out in the neuroscience ICU. Well, I didn't start my career in the neuroscience ICU, but when I got my first bit of experience in the ICU, I started out in the neuroscience ICU in a level 3 trauma facility. And when I was looking up, what it takes to the requirements you need or what can make you look better to the admissions committee, I found that a lot of sites said that they like to see that you have experience in a level 1 trauma facility. So I ended up moving from my first facility to VCU, which is a level 1 trauma facility, and I feel like that made me look better also, being that I had at least a little over a year. It was about a year and a half that I had that experience by the time I got accepted. So that's another thing that I did. Another thing that I did at my old facility was I participated in their clinical ladder. And with the clinical ladder, the things you have to do is you have to show that you've done some you've held leadership roles in your unit, or in that facility as a whole. You have to show that you have leadership, and you also have to provide education to your peers, which I did. I provided education on my unit and also on other units throughout the hospital. And when I provided this education, I made sure it was anesthesia-related education. So I provided education on vents and vasopressors and propofol infusion syndrome, stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure that I showed them that I am really interested in anesthesia, and I have also provided some education to my peers, because I found that is something else that will make you look appealing to the application, to the admissions committee at most of these places, is that you have provided education. Another thing that I did was I was an active member on some of the committees at the facility that I did the clinical ladder for, which was also a requirement for a clinical ladder. So I was a member of my unit-based committee, unit-based council, and I wasn't just like a member, I was an active member. So I was a member of the unit-based council at that facility, and I was also a member of one of the councils in the hospital-wide committees. So that showed that I was, active in my facility, and I also, was, I don't know, just active in my facility. I found that was another thing that these sites suggested that you do to make yourself look more appealing. Another thing that you can do is also be active in your community by volunteering. I did a little bit of volunteer work. That probably helped me also. I did a little bit of volunteer work, not a lot, but whatever you can do. I know that we are very busy nurses, but if you can squeeze that in to your time, that would really make you appealing in the eyes of the admissions committee. Let's see, did I talk about GPA yet? I don't think I did. So I'm sure you all know that you gotta have, you don't gotta have, I'm sure there are some exceptions, but these places do have a minimum GPA that they like you to have, usually. And usually I think the average GPA these places like to see is a 3.0, and that's just minimum. But usually a competitive GPA for applying is somewhere upwards of like a 3.7 and greater, which at the time that I was looking at applying, I had like maybe a 3.66ish. And usually these places will look specifically at your science GPA. Sometimes they look at your overall GPA. I can't remember what VCU looks at, but sometimes they look at your overall GPA, sometimes they look at your nursing GPA, and if you have a graduate degree already, they will most likely look at your graduate degree GPA. So my science GPA could use some improvement, so I went back to VCU, and summer of 2019, I retook a chemistry course that I did poorly in, like almost 20 years ago, when I first graduated high school. I graduated high school in 2004, and I went straight to VCU from there, not really knowing what I wanted to do straight out of high school. So I ended up doing poorly on that in that one chemistry course. So I went back almost 20 years later and retook that course, got an A in that course, and I improved my science GPA, which I feel like made me look better also. Because not only are you improving your science GPA, you're also showing that you are willing to put in the work to get accepted. You are willing to go back and correct your mistakes, because these people are humans. They understand that life happens, and sometimes things happen, sometimes you make mistakes, and if you're willing to go back and improve what you did poorly in, that makes you look a lot better. So those are a few of the things that I did to make myself look more appealing to the admissions committee. And another tip that I can give you is you know how you have to have ICU experience as a nurse when you're trying to become a CRNA. And usually these places have a minimum that they want, like 1 to 2 years of ICU experience, which I personally feel like I had about, by the time of matriculation, I think I had 4.5 to 5 years of, I can't really remember, of ICU experience. I personally feel like the more experience you have, the better, because you're going to have a good foundation as a critical care nurse. You're going to have to know certain things before going into this program that they're not going to teach you. You got to be good with vents. You got to be comfortable with vents, with vasopressors, with how they work, with many different things. So I personally feel like you should have more than 1 to 2 years experience. But don't get me wrong, there are great CRNAs that have just the minimum experience. So personally, for me, I feel like I feel like it's a cushion to me that I have the experience I have. So I mean, that's another tip that I have for you guys. Another thing is, you can't just have any old ICU experience. They usually don't like to take people that only have pediatric ICU experience, or some of these places will only take one pediatric ICU nurse for their admissions period at a time. So, you know, just try to get into an adult ICU and get that experience, because that'll help you also. Try to excel at your job. Try to get some certifications. I got the CCRN. Some places require that you have the CCRN. I can't remember if VCU did, but some places don't require that you have the CCRN. So having the CCRN will help you for those places that don't require it, because it will make you look better. And having the CCRN, well, the CCRN, I probably should explain what that is. CCRN stands for Critical Care Registered Nurse Certification. And you know, that shows that you are a resource on your unit and you know your stuff, pretty much. So yeah, you can also get other certifications. I know there are like neuro nurse educations, you know, based on where you work. Like, you can get a med surg certification. You can get I think it's a trauma nurse certification. That would help a lot. But you know, the CCRN, that's really what you need to shoot for getting, because you know, some places do actually require it. Trying to think if I have included everything. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that I can tell you, but you know, basically those are the main things that I did to try to make myself look more competitive and more appealing to the admissions committee. Thank you for watching my video, and if you like this video, if you would like to follow me through my journey through nurse anesthesia school, please like my video and subscribe, and I will hopefully come back with some more videos in the future. I know I've been slow with uploading videos, but this has been a wild ride. Again, thank you for watching my video, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great day.